What is the SZest thing someone has ever said to you? God, I hate the fact that I can't even look at your fingers without wishing they were inside of me. Whispered by a colleague in the middle of the office. We'd been hooking up for a little while. Many erections lady boners will be had in this thread. I've been touching myself all day thinking about you f-king me against the wall last night. Boners at work are very pesky. The first time I ever heard a girl say I want you inside me will always be the SZest thing I've ever heard. How do guys feel about I want you to come inside me? I love saying it. But I don't want my partners to think I'm trying to get pregnant. Cook for me and I will get naked for you whenever you want, needless to say. I cook for her a lot. The guy who taught me that I am in fact a squirter multipler. I honestly think he was trying to make me pass out sometimes. He succeeded once, just from fingering me. One particular night I dog-smid I don't know how many times. I was spent. I turned around and gasped out. I'm good. I can't come anymore. I was all waving him off me trying to lay down. He leaned over my shoulder, grabbed my arm and whispered in my ear, "Yes you can," and pushed me back down again. I came again immediately. He was so f-king cocky it was ridiculous. And he always knew if I really had another one left in me or not. So if I were to want to become this guy, how? Edit wow. My comments spawned so much knowledge. Thanks to Boxer Broker and everyone else. Over text. What do you want to do tonight? FCKU. Make dinner. FCKU again. Snuggle. Felt good knowing she was serious. What if she was insulting you instead? Furiously making out with a girl in my bed. I keep trying to make moves to take off garments. Get rejected every time. But the intensity of the tonsil hockey keeps increasing. Finally ask her, what do you want? Your cock in my mouth. What followed was one of the best and most cock-hungry blowjobs I've ever received. What's her number? This one time, I'm on my back, in bed, with a naked girl on top of me. We'd been hooking up for a little while. She's straddling me and holding my cock firmly with one hand. Close enough so the tip of me is just barely pressing against her PSSY. She strokes me a few times with one hand. Rakes her nails down my chest with another. Slips me inside of her, and when the very last inch of my cock is in, she whimpers and says, "Oh my god. Oh my god, moan, you're in all of me." It took all the self-control I had not to come right then. Before she even so much as wiggled her hips. Dut. Hung flabgth. You're so wet. Just makes me even wetter. Alternatively, you're so hard. I sometimes have trouble keeping it up. And it's a real confidence boost hearing that. The same way you're so fat. Just gets fatter. Edit. My highest rated comment by about 3,000 votes. I wouldn't have it any other way. To all the women in my life, you're beautiful just the way you are. I did a bit of stand up during an open mic and it surprisingly went over really well. I went to grab a drink and the bartender said to me, "You can totally make jokes about how I look naked. Just as long as it is from a first-hand account." After a few weekends, I had enough material for an hour. Shoulder replied with, "I'd ask you what time you get off tonight. But I'll take care of that myself." About 11:30 p.m. on a weeknight in college, I heard some giggling and footsteps outside my bedroom door. I opened it and it was a hot girl I occasionally hooked up with and her friend. Both somewhat drunk. Hookup girl says I wanted to come by and say hi. This is friend's name. She wants to FCKU too. I've never been a particularly attractive guy. I look alright. Not ugly. But nothing special either. When I was around 21-22, I met this awesome girl through a mutual friend. We hit it off. Turned out we went to the same college. Had similar interests. Etc. Close bracket. Come to find, she's 32 years old. Holy shit. An attractive older woman. Interested in Emmy? Asterisk. Things progress, as they do, and we end up in bed after a nice dinner a few nights later. Things are getting hot and heavy and she whispers, "Oh my god. You're so f***ing hot." I've been called handsome, mostly by aunts and grandmothers, and I've had women tell me they find me attractive. But to hear someone say that I'm so f***ing hot was mind-blowing to me. Not only that, an older woman who wasn't drunk. I know there are better stories here, but that's mine. My FWB said I'm coming over but I'll only have 5 minutes. I did the deed and she gave me a high five and flashed me as she walked out of my apartment. This type of relationship, I want it. I used to work as a server in a restaurant. My ex would come in frequently to eat and get brownie points. Of course. One time, she could tell I was having a pretty rough night. So she left me an unusually big tip and wrote, "I expect a bigger tip from you when you get home. Semicolon. Comma on a napkin." Despite the bad shift, that still forced me to hit the men's room for a readjustment. Edit. Removed quotations on readjustment. To clarify, I did not fap in the bathroom. I was wearing a button-down shirt and dockers. So that unexpected trip to Bonnertown was both obvious and uncomfortable. First sex in a new relationship. And we go several rounds. The next day, I get a text. I had never experienced a 30-second orgasm before. Congratulations. You win. Whoa. Your penis is beautiful. It had been called many things, but never that. And she was 6 years older than me. So that somehow made it even better. Edit. I think Freud and Chris Hansen would like a word with some of you. All of our debt is now paid off. I want you to come in my mouth. As long as I live. That will forever be my go-to happy place. My girlfriend told me my dick was the best thing she put in her mouth since bacon and aioli. You should have let me taste it. After I couldn't take it anymore and came on her back. The next time I ensured this request was fulfilled. When I was 20 and having breakfast with my first serious girlfriend, she abruptly declared I need to FCK you in the kitchen. She almost seemed troubled by it. The combination of her sudden realization, that nonchalant yet determined attitude, and especially the use of the word need sent me into a groping, kissing, ravaging frenzy. She needs this. I had to fulfill her desire. My girlfriend seemed really confused, but went along with the brazen spirit of my table-based conquest. There was a large woven rug beneath said table that had accumulated crumbs throughout the week. I'm not sure how long after the deed it was that I figured out she had actually said I need to vacuum the kitchen. But neither of us ever regretted this mistranslation. He had smoothly maneuvered me onto my back after we'd been making out for a while, with me straddling him on the bed. He had undressed me almost completely at this point, save for a hot pink pair of lacy panties. He then starts sliding my panties down over my hips and down my thighs and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did you need these?" In this really self-assured, cocky tone of voice. You could almost hear the smirk on his face. Holy hell. Every time I think back to it I get a jolt in my stomach. I literally ripped the clothes off my ex while she was pinned against the wall. This normally submissive little vixen then proceeds to throw me down and straight up take it from me. It was glorious and we broke the bed that night. A Swiss girl. HCOM. I'll cherish that moment till the day I die. Edit by far the most upvotes I've ever gotten. Swiss Cindy, you're the gift that keeps on giving. Was dating a girl at my old job. We were just in the dating phase at this point. It was cubicle life. The girl and I sat 2 aisles away from each other. It was a busy call center. She sends me a corporate IM and says check your phone. I look down and see a text from her. It was like a Wednesday. 11:20 AM. In April. Everything about the day, time, and what was going on was pretty insignificant. It was just business as usual in the middle of the work week with no exciting holidays coming up, so it was 5 days week the weeks before and 5 days week for the coming weeks after. I look down at my phone and I see the text from her. I can't wait to take you home and play with you. For hours. I've just been thinking about f***ing you since the meeting this morning and I've been so wet since then. Just imagining her on the phone. Arguing with angry customers. Putting on an act with everyone. Hi. How are you? All the bullshit of the workday. With wet f***ing panties. Waiting. Excited to see me. Really turned me on. Anyone else worry that Uldrahil is furiously masturbating to these stories? While going down on me, I love the way you taste, then continuing for almost an hour. Best night ever. Will bang okay? Awfully sorry, but perhaps you could kindly lower your voice. I'd hate to disturb my neighbors. Thank you so much in advance. I had my loudest, wildest sex after that. For a while. He kept saying things like, "Do try to restrain yourself. It would be so rude to wake the neighbors." But eventually he made as much noise. There's something about a really polite and reserved guy that just makes you want to do whatever it takes to get him to misbehave. Edit. To everyone asking. Yes. He was British. And he was so polite about asking for another BJ. At first I thought he was asking for an L or something really freaky. I was at a party recently and I wasn't really having a good time, so I took a seat near the pool and just started drinking my rum and coke. When all of a sudden this most amazing chick walked right over and sat next to me and gave me a cute little smile. I sat there trying to build up the nerve to say something when she said, "I want your dick inside of me right now." I was really confused and said, "Hi, we don't even know each other." She giggled and said, "I am on the phone, silly." She walked away after that. And that, my friends, was the closest thing to a SI comment aimed at me. Moment of silence for this man. My ex once told me, "I want all of you inside me." Full stop. I think my young brain exploded. And I was so turned on. So what part went in first? A foot? Hand? Making out. Lots of foreplay. And just about to start having the sex. When my wife looks up at me and says, "Do you hate me?" Confused. No. "I love you, tell me you hate me." "I hate you?" Now FCK me like you hate me. I came buckets. This wouldn't play out so well with me. "Do you hate me?" "No." "Why are you bringing this up? Tell me that you hate me. You want me to lie to you? Just tell me it." "I'm sorry. I'm not really into that. And sex would not be had." When I was about to come, my boyfriend sternly said, "Look at me," with a really husky voice. I melted. Good girl. I used to try and eat lots of fruit, usually bananas, to make sure my semen would taste relatively good. About a day prior to my ex coming over, optimistic about catching a BJ or two. One day she said to me, "So, I'll come over Friday. Start eating bananas now. I want you to come inside me." Turns out she just said that to turn me on. I wasn't actually allowed to. A week of panic ensued after the event. She said it, but didn't mean it. What? Spank my ass and pull my hair. I usually do this anyways. But when someone says it, instant turn on. How dry do you want it? I'm going to make my tongue like sandpaper. Flirting with my wife via text. Me. Did you like the kinky sex last night? Starting to explore her. No. I sit there. Total failure at everything. She follows with, "I don't like kinky sex. I love kinky sex. The kinkier the better. Like the kind we're going to have when you get home." Never so glad I was sitting at a desk. I should not have started reading this thread when I'm not going to see my so for at least a week. I was told by my boyfriend, "I just wanna sit down with you and watch Star Wars in our PJs after a long day of work," which for some reason got me revved up. So we made it halfway through A New Hope before the boning started. I was wearing sweats, an oversized sweater, and my hair in a messy bun. All he said was, "I'm so lucky that I can make love to someone as SI." I met a smooth talker at the grocery store who slipped me a seductive line about my glasses. Sort of. I like your frames. I mean your glass. I mean your face. Took home a girl from the bar. Classy. I know. After some heavy petting she laid on the bed on her back, letting her hair drop off the side and said, "Come FCK my face. I want to choke on you. Jiggity." My ex-girlfriend was a bartender, a f-king hot one, and told a few of her female co-workers. Right in front of me. All he has to do is look at me and I get wet. The then came over and put my hand against her inner thigh. She had little shorts on, and I could feel it dripping down her leg. I'm not a huge lovey-dovey person anymore and hated that I could never get my ex to talk dirty to me, so when my current BF said, "I'm going to FCK you like the filthy little SLT you are." Yeah. I take off my robe and wizard hat. Till just how single I am. Stroke. Edit great. Officially my highest rated comment ever. Heads up fellow singles and have a beer. Cheers. The first time I'll let my boyfriend finish in my mouth. I was in a dorm, so it was a long walk to the bathroom and then it would have to sit in my mouth while I dressed. So I just swallowed it. When he asked, I admitted it and thought he wouldn't find it attractive at all. Needless to say, I didn't sleep at all that night. I swallowed the load and got laid all night long. Titty sprinkles. I had taken off my dress for the first time with a new bow and he just sat back and looked at me for a minute before saying, "Now that's how a woman should be shaped." I was not as body confident about my curves. I got them birth in hips, as I am now. So hearing that just made my knees go weak. Fill my hoo-ha with goof juice. I know a girl that faps to a picture of your dick. Me. I want a divorce. Her? So do I. SZest thing ever. Okay. This is gonna get buried late to the party etc. But here goes. I was a 14, maybe 15, years old. A female working as a volunteer athletic trainer for the boys' lacrosse team. So this one boy was drop dead gorgeous. Like, my teenage heart and rampant hormones were ablaze the entire time. Anyways, he makes a really great shot during the game. He comes off the field and is chatting to his buddies. As he walks away, I get up the courage to say, "Hey, nice shot out there." He turns his head slightly over his shoulders, so I can only see his perfect blonde hair and chiseled profile, and says in the most husky, manly, sensual voice, "Yeah. You like that?" and walks away. That's the closest I've gotten to a speech-induced orgasm. Edit. Would you like to make that a combo? ... So alone. I was really nervous about coming during sex, which I had never done before. My boyfriend knew this and was very sweet about it, which led to the hottest and SZest moment in my life. We were having sex in bed like usual. Missionary. And it was still making me nervous and I kept apologizing for not being able to finish. He then moved carefully to his side so we were facing each other and he wrapped his arms around me, pulling me close. He was kissing me softly on my face and whispered, "Who are you with?" And I smiled and said, "You." And he kept building me up closer to orgasm. But I wasn't as nervous because every so often he'd whisper something comforting like, "Look at me sweetheart. Focus honey." And when I was about to come I was still nervous and he held me close and said, "It's okay honey. Just let it go." And when I was done, the best line. Good girl. Best SX ever. My BF texted me today while we're both in work. "Can we FCK before the end of the world? Just in case." Needless to say, We're having sex tonight. Mine is simple. After sex my girlfriend very sincerely said, "Thank you." I am a long time S&M practitioner. Started in school when me and my friends would beat the shit out of each other and I would get an erection. Best line I ever heard was, "Give me your cock before I douse you in petrol and push you into the fireplace." One time, I was really caught off guard. My partner punched me in the throat and as I lay gasping for breath she whispered, "I love you." Something so simple, yet poignant. We married 3 months later. Not gonna lie, I'm really confused. But I think this is supposed to be sweet. So congratulations. I'm going to pound the farts out of you. Hooking up with a girl I had been flirting with for a long time. We both knew we were really attracted to each other. Heavy makeout session ensues. Clothes come off. In the middle of effing, she wraps her legs around me and grabs my face. Gives me the most intense stare imaginable and commands, "FCK me like you paid for it." I've never come so hard in my life. Am I the only one who thinks this is weird? Ugh. This was probably a bit over a year ago with my daughter's father. We weren't dating. Neither of us wanted to. But hormones. So we were basically FCK buddies prior to my getting pregnant. He was laying back against the arm of the couch. And I was between his legs. Pretty much laying on him. We had been watching a movie and I was laying sort of on his chest, head on his shoulder, and he was rubbing my back. Things eventually started going in an R-rated direction. And in the same position, shirts gone and such. He had an arm around my middle and a hand on the back of my neck and just said, "I want you," while looking me dead in the eyes. I FK'd him for hours after that. I'm gonna FCK your F-king fanny off. You twat. Would you like paper or plastic? Right there. I just jizzed in my pants.